Townsquare Sunday on 1420 WBSM. A place where people come together to talk about some of the good things happening in and around New Bedford. A place to share. A place on the radio for the people. And now, the moderator of Townsquare Sunday, 1420 WBSM's Jim Phillips.
Well, good morning and welcome to Townsquare Sunday, a weekly public affairs show about the work of nonprofits and community organizations here on the South Coast. Tuesday, August 7th, is the National Night Out Against Crime. The event is held across the country and here in New Bedford and surrounding towns. Joining me, Jerry Pinto, President of Neighborhoods United, to discuss National Night Out 2018 in New Bedford. Jerry, welcome.
Good morning, Jim. Thank you for having me.
Who are your partners with this event on the 7th?
It's more like who aren't my partners.
Sure.
This year, we obviously all the city departments in the city of New Bedford, Mass State Police. We also have different agencies from New Bedford through Fall River coming to participate in hands-on activities with the kids. The military's coming. It's just a
big
large
group.
list, yes.
Schools? School department?
No, not this year. Normally when we do it at school department, we have a close relationship as when we're on their grounds.
And of course, New Bedford Police.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where is this year's National Night Out New Bedford being held? And in general, what's the purpose of the National Night Out?
Well, it's being held at the Riverside Park on Bellevue Avenue in New Bedford. And I chose that location because the landscape is just one of the best in the city, where they've done all the clearing out by the ocean. I just thought it would be like the ultimate spot for us to hold National Night Out this year.
And it's a big place.
Huge.
Running from the side of Market Basket all the way to
Coffin Ave.
Coffin Ave. So it is a big location. This event starts at 4:30 until 8 p.m. And there is a rain date, heaven forbid, but there is a rain date, the 8th of August, the next night,
Yep.
if it doesn't happen on the 7th. Now, there's going to be a lot of fun things going on for
Yes.
kids, and that's a great thing. But there is a somber note to this year's National Night Out here in New Bedford.
There is.
All right, tell us about that.
Well, this year we're going to be celebrating in memory of Sergeant Sean Gannon from Yarmouth Police Department and Sergeant Michael Chesna from Weymouth Police Department. And it's more of a celebration of what they did in their lives. One obviously was a young man that loved his community based on information that I've received in Yarmouth, and the other was a protector of our country. 2 tours overseas, and we want to celebrate their life and have a great time with it.
Now, both Gannon and Chesna lost their lives while on duty in the last, 3 or 4 months. Both tragic circumstances, and so there'll be a ceremony at the National Night Out to commemorate not only their service, their public service, their lives, and there'll be a guest speaker.
Yes, and the guest speaker is the Yarmouth Police Chief. He's coming from Yarmouth before his National Night Out to spend some time with us here in New Bedford to say a few words, and we have a great show set up for him when he does come in. We're working on Weymouth, unfortunately, because of their tragedy happening not too long ago. It's been kind of difficult to find out if anyone's going to come up from Weymouth, but that's, which is understandable, but we're still going to celebrate.
So there'll be police honor guards, there'll be a lot of folks, and you mentioned the military,
Yeah.
Because they want to honor, I'm sure, Chesna for his service beyond the police service,
Yes.
his military service.
We're also, the young Marines are also participating in the activity. So the police chief from Yarmouth will have a beautiful escort in.
All right. Now, let's talk about some of the fun things that are going to happen. What do folks see when they go to this event? First of all, it's free.
100% free. Doesn't cost nothing. We're going to have the most important piece: free hot dog, chip, and soda. Everybody loves that part, and Domino's pizza. But we're going to have face painting, bubble bounces, obstacle courses, football toss, our friends from Target and Dartmouth and Wareham, and Taunton are going to be there as they normally are, doing raffles for free bikes and different toys, along with Neighborhood United and the police department with the bikes. Just all kinds of just hands-on fun activities. The way that National Night Out is designed now, you're more than welcome to bring your table, but I've spoken with everybody and I put the emphasis on interaction with the kids, not just hand out paperwork. You have to do an activity of some sort. Like Detective Corolla is going to come with a bunch of paper where he has a hand in drawing that's incredible. He's going to work with the kids. Absolutely. He's beyond artist. And I'm really excited about things like that, that interaction one-on-one. Soccer, we'll say with Scott Consatio, and just that one-on-one with law enforcement, fire department, EMS. The kids are going to learn all about everything and anything that has to do with public safety.
And that's part of the mission of the National Night Out, isn't it?
Yes.
To kind of break down that barrier, get people talking, young people and police officers for sure, but also adults and police officers.
Exactly.
Get some information, communication going.
Right.
That you never know, you might need that police officer somewhere down the line, and to have somebody or at least have had some communication with, that's a big deal.
And more important too is that police officer may need that somebody at some point in time. But over the years, it's always been, the emphasis has been pushed on National Night Out is about law enforcement. I've kind of twisted a little bit, and I put all public safety, because they still enforce laws also, and they're out there doing the same job, helping people, whether it's a car accident or fire, anything. Yeah. So kids are not comfortable with authority, in a sense, the badge. We want to make sure we can try to break that wall down on all, different type of badges, and adults.
And there's, again, there used to be something where there was cars running around the neighborhoods with their sirens on National Night Out. Right. That's been scrapped as well.
For now it has been. Yeah. It's just, with there's so much going on at National Night Out now, it's almost impossible to really get everybody together, and the roads congested with cars, and we move National Night around the city, so unlike previous years, so some areas the traffic is just like off the hook. And then there were people that had concerns about what's going on, not realizing it was National Night Out, and they started to panic. But in the future, we're going to see what we can do to
have that come back. You're listening to Townsquare Sunday. I'm Jim Phillips. My guest is Jerry Pinto, the president of Neighborhood United. We're talking about National Night Out and some other things. You were in the news a week or so ago.
I was.
Leading a protest against the court system, judges. We've seen some terrible things in the last few weeks about people who are released on low bail or seemingly low bail and going out committing horrible crimes. It's just enough to make your skin crawl here about how this happens. But in a democracy, in a state where we do not elect judges, sometimes just things can happen. Now look, you've heard this argument, I'm sure, about bail and about what it's supposed to mean. It doesn't mean, it's not supposed to be punishment. It's simply to guarantee that the defendant appears again in court. Should we change that?
If a police officer witnesses something, or a credible person really witnesses something that's clearly that person did, I really feel that we should change it. But I've listened over the last couple of days because of what happened on the Cape last weekend.
Awful.
And I don't have an answer to the remedy. I have an idea. Everyone's always talking about getting rid of this elected official, or the DA, or this counselor, or et cetera, and not really focusing on what we really have to do. We have to rewrite the book, and then all these people that are involved in law enforcement and attorney generals, et cetera, they have to sit down as a team and make sure that the paperwork from this department to that department is all together, so we don't have what we have happened last week. Because the father lost his life 2 days after his baby was born. And the person that obviously committed the crime, he had a rap sheet that was longer than my arm. And you start to hear, well, this DA didn't know this was going on.
It was reported that apparently the state probation department didn't notify the DA that the defendant, Mickey Rivera, I believe his name is, had reoffended. His probation should have been revoked, and he should have been brought to jail. But because the probation department, the state probation department, didn't notify local officials here, he was out and was involved in that, and was killed, frankly, in that terrible accident on the Cape, believed to be the cause of the accident, where a young father is dead, Rivera is dead, and the woman who was in the car with Rivera also now dead, a woman from New Bedford. So it's a very, that particular case is a sad, sad case, but it goes to show what can happen if communication in these agencies isn't a whole lot better.
And this is why I feel state agencies and local need to have that same network database with all of the same information in it, so they don't run into these problems, because that could have been prevented. Well, all of them could have been prevented if the system was tied together as one.
Should we elect judges, Jerry? Is that one of the things you feel we should do? It's a whole raft of problems I could see with that, but I wanted to let you answer your question, then we'll go from there.
Elect judges, to some degree, part of me says yes, some says no. I think there should be a shorter term limit on a judge. Mm-hmm. I definitely feel there should be a shorter term limit, and I feel that judges need to reside where they live, as a New Bedford policeman has to live within the city. The fire
in other words,
department,
where they sit, you want to see them reside.
All right. Now, if they're working in New Bedford courts, it doesn't mean they can't live in Dartmouth, because I'm not against the Dartmouth, Fairhaven, Acushnet type living from New Bedford.
Yeah.
But again, the elected piece is can go either way in our favor or against us. But I'm definitely for the term limits, or just you have to renew after X amount of years and not be found guilty of anything, or not be sued because you made the wrong decision on something.
Obviously you're in favor of some sort of judicial reform. We passed judicial reform bills in the past, but we still have this problem of these loopholes that appear out of nowhere. That's really the sad part about this, that if somebody had done their job, for instance, in the state probation department, Mr. Rivera might not have been free. He might have been taken in, and that accident, we don't have a crystal ball, would never happen, but the fact is that all three people would likely still be alive today.
Well, that's a great example,
Yeah.
and I'm not afraid of saying we need to elect new people that represent our areas too. It's not, just a judge thing either, whether it's the governor council or local delegation. If they're not doing their job, we need to get them out and really push people in there that we know want the job and going to do the job with their heart, not because they've been there for 30 years or 10 years. They still have that desire.
Well, I would say that's a good point, but in the Rivera case again, some clerk in probation failed to pick up the phone.
Right.
How do you prevent a human error? I guess I'll call it a human error. How do you prevent that from happening? It's a very difficult thing. There's no question about it, and it's not really the judge's fault. Although there was, I guess the district attorney on the Cape had a chance to, hold Mr. Rivera too after he was arrested for drunk driving, but that somehow failed. It didn't happen.
And this is why we need to update the laws, and we also need to have a database that's connected to everybody with all the same information that they receive, whether the person was pulled over for a speeding ticket. At least it's in the system and everybody can type it in and know what's going on.
All right, Jerry, one more time. What do people need to know about National Night Out in New Bedford?
National Night Out in New Bedford is this Tuesday, August 7th, 4:30 p.m. We're doing a memory of Sergeant Sean Gannon and Sergeant Michael Chesna. We encourage everybody to be part. And if you live in a neighbor city or town, like Fairhaven, they'll be doing theirs, 5 o'clock. Go over there if you can't make it to New Bedford. And our friends in Mattapoisett, Rochester, and Marion will be doing theirs at ORR. And I've spoken with all of the police chiefs in the area. And 5 o'clock they'll be doing theirs. But go somewhere to celebrate National Night Out with the public safety officials.
And hopefully, there'll be plenty of activities for youngsters, talking to police officers, intermingling, doing activities with them. That's what you think National Night Out should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Jerry Pinto, thanks very much for coming in, and good luck with National Night Out.
Thank you.
Townsquare Sunday returns in just a moment.